Right now, the January 6th committee takes a closer look today and possible ties between the former president and far right-wing nationalist groups. And Wisconsin's Attorney General is backing a proposed federal rule that would try to regulate weapons that are considered by some to be untraceable. This is News 3 Now at noon. We are streaming live on channel3000.com and Channel 3000 Plus as the latest January 6th committee's latest hearings is getting underway on CBS and WISC-TV. The focus today will be on former President Donald Trump's possible connections with extreme right-wing groups. Skylar Henry has more on what we can expect from Capitol Hill.
CBS News has learned former Oath Keeper spokesman Jason Van Tattenhove will be one of the witnesses at today's hearing. He's expected to testify about his relationship with Oath Keeper leader Stewart Rhodes and the violent nature of the group.
They came with explosives, they came armed, they came with maps of the Capitol, and with plans that extended beyond just a peaceful protest.
Rose has pleaded not guilty to charges of seditious conspiracy and is awaiting trial. The House committee says it plans to highlight possible links between the extremist groups and some of the former president's associates, like Roger Stone and former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn.
And there's already plenty of evidence in the public sphere that there was some coordination and actual direct language spoken in public by the president that tended to support the activities of these groups.
Committee members say the president also spoke directly to these groups through his tweets, all with the intention of getting his supporters here to Washington on January 6th.
We got footage all over the place on the Capitol.
Stephen Ayers is also expected to testify. The Ohio man attended the Stop the Steal rally. He's already pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct after converging on the Capitol. And court documents show he suggested civil war will ensue if former President Trump did not remain in the White House. He cited the December 19th tweet from the former president urging supporters to come to Washington.
I think it's both about the mobilization of the mob as well as the mobilization of members of Congress to amplify the president's message and to drive folks towards January 6th.
The committee may also play recordings from former White House counsel Pat Cipollone's deposition. He appeared behind closed doors last week for nearly 8 hours of testimony. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And CBS News' coverage of the hearing is now on the air. You can watch it live on WISC-TV. We'll have recaps later today on News 3 Now. Let's head to the Weather Center now. Julian Seawright has a look at your certified most accurate forecast. Nice day out there.
Oh, man, isn't it just gorgeous out? We're looking at plenty of blue skies, and on top of it, plenty of sunshine as well. Good news is that it's nowhere near as humid as it was yesterday, so it's really going to feel very pleasant throughout the rest of our afternoon. Temperatures will warm up, though, still going to be summer-like. We'll be into those lower 80s throughout much of this afternoon, but with those breezy conditions, it's going to feel really good out there, especially since we're not looking at much humidity. Temperatures around southern Wisconsin, 81 already in Janesville with 78 degrees in Platteville. As we see those 70s and low 80s are really dominating southern Wisconsin for us. Dew points, however, again, not much of a factor. Very comfortable as we're getting into our afternoon hours. And on top of it, the only real spot to seeing a little bit of moisture is mainly over towards Platteville. But as we see, plenty of dry conditions. Not going to be expecting much, maybe a stray shower later this afternoon. But overall, it is going to be a dry one here in Madison. We'll talk more about what else to expect later into the week because we could see some changes heading toward the weekend, Mark.
All right, well, enjoy today.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll see you later, Julian. Yeah. Birth control pills could become more readily available soon, with one pharmaceutical company submitting an application to make them available over the counter. HRA Pharma submitted the application in hopes of expanding access to birth control. Between 2015 and 2017, 14% of women between the ages of 15 and 49 took oral contraceptives. The approval process could take about 10 months before a decision is made. Wisconsin's Attorney General is backing a proposed new federal rule to regulate so-called ghost guns. Josh Call is joining a group of 20 states in supporting a rule that would regulate weapons that don't have serial numbers and are often made at home using parts that aren't subject to background checks. The rule would require people buying weapon kits to pass a background check like they would for a traditional gun. Call says it would help law enforcement track any ghost guns that are later used in crimes. Kids eager to get on the water this summer are getting a chance to do so today during Rock County's annual Cops and Bobbers outing. Since 2014, the community outreach event has allowed kids ages 7 to 12 to interact with law enforcement in a laid-back environment. Starting with a few hours of fishing and followed by a group lunch, Rock County officials say the event is a way of forming positive relationships in the community.
The kids see us in an environment other than just a law enforcement one. Provides them an opportunity to come out and go fishing, interact, be out in the environment, have a little fun, maybe fish if they've never had a chance to fish before. Really opens up their eyes to us and allows us to have a good positive interaction.
Fell says oftentimes the same kids return each year, making for a lasting impact on both children and law enforcement. This is the second Cops and Bobbers outing of this year. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon, including an updated look at gas prices and how some retailers are hoping to counteract Amazon's Prime Days. Today's consumer news is just ahead.
A federal judge says Subway can be sued for allegedly misleading customers about its tuna offerings. That includes a claim the sandwich restaurant chain uses other fish species, as well as chicken, pork, and cattle, while advertising 100% tuna. The judge called it premature to accept Subway's argument that any presence of non-tuna DNA might result from eggs and mayonnaise or contact with other ingredients. The judge also rejected the plaintiff's argument that reasonable consumers would expect only tuna in their sandwich. In a statement, Subway says it serves 100% tuna and is confident it will prevail in the lawsuit. There could be another kind of strike at the Major League Baseball All-Star Games set to be played July 19th at LA's Dodger Stadium. Stadium concession workers have voted to authorize a strike, which the local union says could begin at any time. The union says it's seeking a, quote, fair new contract. In a statement, the MLB Players Association says it stands with the workers. And Amazon kicks off Prime Day today. The e-commerce giant's annual two-day sales event is aimed at attracting more Prime membership subscribers. Other retailers piggyback on Prime Day with their own summer sales events, like Target with its Deal Days. And Best Buy is running Black Friday in July. This year, e-tailers are looking for a boost after the surge in spending during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic reached a peak. That is your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Matt Piper.
Let's check the numbers on Wall Street at noon. The Dow Industrial's up 111 points. The Nasdaq, though, down about 3.5. The S&P 500 is down fractionally. Gas prices continue to work their way down from last month's record highs. AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular gas is now about $4.65. Those averages are much lower in Wisconsin, where we're seeing an average of about $4.43 a gallon. That's down a couple of cents from yesterday and down nearly 50 cents per gallon from the record high of $4.92 that was set a month ago. Here in Madison, we're seeing an average price of about $4.28. An avid hiker has set a new record here in Wisconsin. Arlette Land finished hiking the Ice Age Trail earlier this week to become the first woman to complete hikes on all 11 national scenic trails. That adds up to roughly 19,000 miles of hiking, but she says she's not done yet.
There's still, local stuff that I want to do in the Whites, and are trails in Europe. There are still trails out in the U.S. So there's always stuff to re-hike, like the Arizona Trail is a gorgeous trail. It'd be great to hike that again. Yeah. Lots of stuff to discover still.
While she finished her journey in Wisconsin, Land lives in Massachusetts and is originally from Holland. Up next, we have an update on that wildfire raging at Yosemite National Park. And taking a look outside, we're seeing a lot more sun than we saw yesterday. Julian has a closer look at the forecast coming up. Well, Pam Yankee from the Midwest Farm Report is at the Wisconsin Farm Tech Days in Clark County. She'll be back on Thursday, so here are your farm numbers. Well, firefighters are making some progress in their battle to contain a wildfire threatening California's giant sequoias. The fire is now about 22% contained as firefighters work to protect some of the oldest trees in the world. Jonathan Vigliotti has an update from Yosemite National Park.
The firefight in Yosemite rages on. Time-lapse video shows the thick plumes of dark smoke that triggered air quality alerts over the entire region, reaching the Bay Area and as far north as Oregon. Despite flames being attacked from all angles, the Washburn fire continues to expand.
We are getting as many resources as we possibly can. We have tankers, we have helicopters, we have dozers.
But the safest way to fight the fire is also the most difficult, on foot. In some cases, firefighters have had to hike more than a mile in ash like this to reach the flames.
It's all part of a multifaceted effort to save these national treasures. The giant sequoias are known for being fire resistant, but even they have a limit.
You'll look up and you'll see 200-foot flame lengths, and that kind of fire is why they are less resistant to survival.
In the past 6 years, over 85% of the giant sequoia habitat in the Sierra Nevada has been hit by wildfire, compared to just 25% the previous century. While the worst of the Washburn fire is moving away from the sequoias, it's now burning in a remote area of the park that's hard to reach. Fire crews are now re-strategizing. They're starting small fires, known as backburns, to try to coax the flames down the hillside.
The crews will go up to the actual uncontrolled fire's edge, and they'll start working off of that uncontrolled edge, bringing fire down the slope.
Around 500 giant sequoias, some 3,000 years old, are still threatened by the fire. Fire crews are now working to establish a perimeter around them. They also put down a water sprinkler. Park rangers tell me this is the first time they've had to use this technique in their history. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Yosemite National Park.
And Julian's taking a look at the forecast. The heat out there does not help fighting those flames.
No, it doesn't, especially how dry things are out there in California. So that's one thing to be watching for. But for us, we are still dry, but as we will see as of right now for our radar, we're not looking at much in terms of rainfall for us. We've had a couple of showers for some areas from yesterday and the day before. We could still see that later on this afternoon, but for the most part, we're going to stay with plenty of blue skies and for sunshine. Now, as we take a look at what we're going to be planning out the rest of our day with, well, it's going to be in the 80s, but we're not dealing with a whole lot of humidity. Thankfully, it's going to be a lot more comfortable for us as we're not dealing with a whole lot of moisture in our atmosphere. But as that cold front sweeps in, we will start to see a couple of pop-up showers for some areas. But overall, it's going to be mild. It's going to be breezy for the upper Midwest. And most of all, it's going to be rather dry. We're not going to be expecting to see much in terms of precipitation over the next couple of days for us. But as we go throughout the rest of today, a 5 p.m. commute may see a couple of clouds start to develop mainly to the north, but really the developments of some showers or even thunderstorms will also be near central Wisconsin and parts just outside of the Dells overnight. Outside of that, might see it trickle into parts of Dane County, but overall, we're still going to stay on the dry side, especially as we get into our Wednesday morning. Wednesday at lunchtime, we'll see those temperatures once again fall as that northerly breeze is going to keep things on the cooler side. We're going to see 70s in our forecast once again. It's going to be very pleasant. Again, not a lot of humidity either. So it's going to be a great mid part of the week. Going into our Wednesday nights, still not looking for much in terms of change. As we see from that quick little system that'll be rolling in, since there's not a lot of moisture in our atmosphere, that cold front as it moves through is just going to bring in a couple of, even a quarter of an inch to some rain spots, mainly near Watoma, but mainly, again, north of Dane County. We're not going to be looking at our best rain chances until later into the week. So this is the day we'll be looking to maybe have the rain gear nearby. As we get to our Friday afternoon, we're looking for a system to roll its way in throughout much of our Friday afternoon and evening side and transitioning into our Saturday morning as well, which could be bringing in quite a healthy drink for us here in southern Wisconsin. For some areas, could see an inch or maybe even more closer to the Illinois state line. So that's one thing to be mindful of, because aside of that, it's going to be a rather quiet week for us here in southern Wisconsin. As we go throughout the next few days, temperatures will be into the lower 80s. Again, not a lot of humidity until we get into closer to the weekend. And then we have a couple of chances of seeing some showers or storms. But outside of that, not looking at too much to shake things up in the weather world until next week, where, Mark, we are looking for a heat wave to really just be flat out unpleasant.
Boy, every day.
Those 90s and humidity is definitely going to incite me to stay home.
So enjoy today.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Julian, thank you. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, let's see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If everything old is new again, then today's cooking method is right on the mark. Plus, it's super tasty. If you're the type of person who loves food that is super juicy, likes to make sure that everyone has an equal portion, and is not a big fan of washing pots and pans, then foil packet cooking is for you. And if you're not familiar with it, let me share a simple recipe to get you started. We start by cutting 4 squares of aluminum foil, and you'll want to make sure you use a heavy-duty one, and don't be skimpy when cutting it. We season a few chicken breasts with salt and pepper before dipping them in some barbecue sauce. We place one in the center of the foil and top it with a slice of pineapple, some chunked up red pepper, and a bit of chopped scallions. A little bit more barbecue sauce goes on top, and we fold the foil, creating a pocket so our chicken can roast. Place these on a baking sheet and into the oven they go, or we can cook these right out on the grill. When they're done, make sure you open them carefully because they're gonna be hot. What we end up with is the juiciest chicken ever, topped with the taste of the tropics. The recipe for our tropical barbecue chicken packets is online now and is perfect all year long. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a wrapped up way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, the anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission to the moon is next week. Interest in the moon and everything above us has increased during the pandemic. Wendy Gillette has more on the growing trend of astronomy tourism.
Next Wednesday marks 53 years since Apollo 11 blasted off on its journey to the moon, bringing Neil Armstrong to those first steps. As the world shut down during the pandemic and seemed a bit smaller, curiosity about what lies beyond our planet skyrocketed.
There has been a growth in interest, that's for sure.
Kevin Legore saw sales double as a senior product specialist for Skywatcher, one of the largest telescope manufacturers in the world.
We definitely did see a major explosion in people calling us looking for product to help get out and do something with their families, or it's just something that they've always wanted to do and now just turned out to be the time for them to do that.
Legore lives in Phoenix, Arizona, one of the best states for enjoying the night sky.
Arizona is probably the capital for the United States for astronomy because we have that really dry, arid desert.
At the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, visitors can see the telescope Apollo astronauts used to study the moon during training. The city was named the world's first dark sky place in 2001, recognizing communities committed to minimizing light pollution. Arizona is home to 6 of the 25 dark sky communities in the U.S., including Fountain Hills, where the astronomy-themed Adero Scottsdale offers dark sky corner suites and nightly stargazing. But the Grand Canyon arguably boasts some of the best views. 25 minutes from the South Rim, we went glamping for a reduced rate at Under Canvas. Some tents have private bathrooms, fireplaces, and all the comforts of home.
They also have 7 stargazer tents with plastic pop-outs above the beds so you can look out at the stars at night.
So on an average night, you can see the Milky Way, and we have low light all around our camp.
The Grand Canyon earned a Dark Sky Park designation in 2019. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Grand Canyon Junction, Arizona.
That's the place to go, I guess.
Apparently. Looks pretty gorgeous. But as we take a look here, well, it is pretty nice here as well until we get into the later part of the week. Then we're going to be expecting to see some showers rolling in for us as a potential going into our Friday afternoon here in southern Wisconsin. And that could carry into our Friday night as well. So if there's going to be a day to carry the rain gear, well, Friday would be the day for us as we're looking for a healthy amount of some rainfall for us as we get into our Friday nights going even into Saturday. Some areas we could be seeing close to an inch or even more of rainfall, which will be great great since it's been oh so dry over the last few days. But outside of that, folks, humidity is not going to be too bad throughout this afternoon. And on top of it, we will start to see a bit more warmer air. But the heat is what we're going to be watching for heading into next week, as we're going to see temperatures skyrocket into those 90s and hold firm throughout much of next week with that humidity mark.
And the lows only in the 70s?
It's already going to start off hot.
It starts out hot and goes up from there.
Yeah.
All right, that's our time for now. Thanks for watching here on Channel 3000 Plus. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. Have a great afternoon.